Hi, my name is Lauren Lemasters, and for my leadership interview project, I chose to interview Delores Kesler. I know Delores Kesler through my mom. They used to work together, and for as long as I can remember, my mom has always described Miss Kessler as a really transformative leader and someone who just knows how to take the people around them and help them thrive so that they can reach a common goal and really so that the whole team can just flow together as best possible. So when we were given this assignment, she was one of the first people that I thought of, and I was really looking forward to the chance to getting to sit down with her and pick her brain about her leadership styles and how she's found success. I think personally, one of the reasons I find her so inspiring and such a transformative leader is because she was one of the first women to take a company public on the New York Stock Exchange. And as a woman myself who's hoping to go into the professional environment pretty soon, that's just really inspiring to me. And like I said, my mom just always talked about how she came from really humble beginnings and really made something of herself and found personal and professional success. And so I was really excited to get to sit down and talk to her. During the interview, one of the first things that I noticed is that Delores Kesler is a very authentic leader. I sat down with her and was honestly kind of nervous, getting ready to go into my whole spiel about thanking her and getting into the questions. And she just kind of set the tone by asking me about school and what I was involved in and how my classes were, and really just made me feel like we were friends, just getting to know each other and having a conversation. And that kind of helped me a lot be less nervous and also see her as a leader and someone who just treats the people around her all equally and is genuine with everyone. She brought up trust quite a few times, and I know that people who are authentic and genuine is just really important to her. One of the ways that I saw how authentic she is in one of her answers. She was talking about kind of her leadership roles at an early age and how she was part of a 4-H club that had a leadership kind of section of it. And she was talking about how that really helped define her as a leader and gave her a lot of opportunities to meet different people and learn different leadership skills. And she could still remember the motto for that 4-H club, and it was head, heart, health, and hand. And she went through how in each of those aspects that are things that she's worked on within herself to try to make herself a better leader. So that was very impressive that she was so genuine with me that she could remember something from so long ago that had obviously really had a big impact on her. And then some of the key leadership characteristics that we talked about was humility, which I know we talked about a lot in class. And it was really honestly inspiring to hear her talk about humility and how when she was younger and early on in her career, she would go into a leadership position and just assume that she knew what was best for the team and she knew what was going on. But throughout her experiences and as she's matured, she's really learned that when you walk into a room, you have to have the mindset of, I can learn something from every person in this room, and that everyone's individual experiences are something to be valued and to be learned from, and to just kind of have that humble mindset and put yourself in other people's shoes. So that was really cool that we were able to talk about that. And the other leadership characteristic I really noticed is that she's a very bold leader. She talked about this book she read called I Dare You, and she said that that was a really inspirational just work that kind of helped her professional career. She still carries the book around in her purse to this day. And she just says that anytime she's faced with criticism or challenges, she tries to look at it as a dare. And if someone says that she can't do something, which does happen a lot to women in business, she takes it as a challenge and says, okay, that's a dare and I'm going to prove you wrong, which was really impressive and something that I would like to kind of mold into my own leadership style. And then after the interview, looking back on kind of what we talked about and just the conversation that we had, one of the things that I really realized is that Delores Kesler is just an excellent example of a servant leader by the way that she talked about her people and her leadership styles and even how she talked about humility. one of the things that really struck me is we were talking about just kind of how she handles like different relationships in the work environment. And she talked about whenever she was CEO and would have to let people go or fire them, which is obviously a very difficult job and not the most fun thing. But she said that there's not a person that she's ever had to fire that she couldn't call up now and ask for a favor or have a amicable conversation with, which I found really impressive because that doesn't happen very often. And she explained it that she just really tries to put herself in the shoes of her team or in the shoes of her followers and, see where they're at and see what they need. And I think that's just a very servant hearted thing to do. She talks about how she really just tries to envision, who she wants them to be. And then as the leader, tries to create the best path for them to get there. So that was very impressive. And the other thing that we talked about related to service is that she really believes in giving back because she has been given so much. And she's involved in the University of North Florida and donates a lot of scholarships to them and then keeps in contact with the people who earn those scholarships, which I found to be very impressive and shows that she's not just doing it to feel better, but she really truly cares about giving back and serving people and seeing how the people that she's helped can succeed. So really just a amazing woman who is great in her personal and interpersonal skills. So it was awesome to get to talk to her about that. I think that one of the key things I learned practically from her from a leadership perspective is that it's so important who you surround yourself with. We talked about how the 3 things she looks for when hiring or when picking people for her team is people that are trustworthy, that she knows aren't going to BS her or aren't going to be honest with her. She wants people that she can really trust and that she can just respect their character. And she wants people who are driven and really passionate about the work that they're doing because then she knows that they're going to give it their all. It's not just like checking off a box and finishing one task. They're really going to put their heart into it, which is so important to her. And lastly, she really values people who are goal driven, which we've obviously talked so much about. And I think her style really fits into path goal theory because she wants people who have a goal and she wants to help as a leader, make that path clear for them and help them through any obstacles that might get in the way of them achieving that personal or professional goal. So that was very impressive. And then lastly, kind of with that, she talked about developing those 3 things in college and just taking advantage of this experience and of the connections that I'm making. So that was just so kind of her to give me some personal advice. But we just talked about how to really take advantage of your own experiences and learn from those of others, which I really want to fit into my leadership practices from now on. So I'm honestly really thankful for this project. It helped me get to know an amazing leader and learn more about how I want my own leadership styles to look. So I really appreciate it, and thank you so much for listening.